I'm Vegas Runner, here breaking down UFC 130, live at the MGM Grand here in Las Vegas. We did two videos yesterday and gave out two free picks. If you remember, UFC 129 gave out 3 picks. We cashed all 3. Strikeforce card before that, we did the same. So I'm going to try to keep it rolling in MMA. Like I said, I gave out 2 picks yesterday. After returning home to do some more work, I called a couple of guys that I talk MMA with pretty much weekly, and definitely when there's a big event. And they went to the press conferences and got a chance to talk to a lot of people and gather some good information. They helped me confirm 2 more picks for that Saturday night card. So I said, I'm going to pregame and I'm going to share that information with our viewers. So let's do that. And this will be the final pick. This is the Struve Browne fight. I think it's an interesting fight. 2 big guys, bottom line. When Browne, being 6'8", 6'7", excuse me, and 250 is the smaller guy as far as height goes, there's going to be some tall guys in the ring. Struve's just, you don't get the name skyscraper for nothing. Let's just put it that way. More importantly, this line's right there around the coin toss. Browne is the favorite. He's 10-0. I believe with 1 draw. So he is the betting favorite. You can get Struve at plus 120. And that's exactly what I did. I jumped all over Struve, and I think that's the right side. He's won 5 of his last 6 fights. His only loss came to Junior Dos Santos, who, you get a pass. Losing to Dos Santos, you get a pass. Not too many guys are going to beat him in the UFC right now. So I'm able to overlook that fight. And the one thing with Struve, it's simple. If he is able to overcome the first round, you're not going to beat this kid. Very few fighters are able to take the kind of punishment he's able to withstand and win the fight. We've talked about guys who you respect so much because after the 3rd round, they're still standing and they got heart, and you're willing to see them on every UFC card, even if they don't win. But with Struve, it's different. The reason he gets to fight on these UFC cards is because when he's able to get past that storm in the 1st round and he's still alive for the 2nd and 3rd round, he wins the fight and wins it in convincing fashion via submission, via decision. For a big guy, his submissions are extraordinary, and I think that has a lot to do with those long limbs. So I give him a huge advantage in this fight if it goes out of the 1st round. Browne, heavy hands. I give him that. He will be the harder hitter in this fight. Like I said, he's 250, not a small guy. But looking at his last fight, UFC 120 with Congo, that was as boring of a fight as I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't even, I remember how bad it was, that usually I look at tape before I bet upcoming fights, and I didn't even want to watch the tape of that fight because I just remember how it went down exactly and how bad it was. So I'm not impressed by that record. More importantly, and this is the bottom line here, Browne's been off since October. That's a long layoff in the UFC. He has not fought since October of 2010. I think that's a huge advantage for Struve because ring rust affects a fighter early. And what did I say? With Struve, you have to get him early if you're going to beat him. Because of that ring rust, I don't think Browne's going to be able to get to Struve early. Because of that, as we get out of the 1st round and get into the 2nd round and possibly the 3rd round, huge advantage, skyscraper. So for me, this one was easy. I had to approach it simply, what does the UFC have to gain from this? And the bottom line is, Struve's on a 5 of 6 win streak, and his only loss was to Dos Santos. Browne, 10-0, but other than that draw against Congo, which was so boring, no one really cares about watching this guy fight. Even if he wins this fight, I don't see him, highlighting any UFC card. There's no money in Browne. Where on Struve, on the flip side, I think you could see him even get a better slot on that main card. So I think as far as matchups go, as far as the reasoning, you got to stop and think. We talked about this in yesterday's videos. After you do the analytical handicapping, after you break down the matchup, answer the one key question. Why did Joe Silva and the matchmakers at UFC, or any other fight venue for that matter, why are they making this fight? What's to gain by opponent A or opponent B winning? What do they have to gain? Why pit these two fighters? And I think the answer to that is simple. Struve on a nice little streak, except for that hiccup against Dos Santos. This win will put him back in that mix, top 5 guys, possibly top 7 guys, let's say. And he has that name. Let's tell it like it is. People know who he is. So I think this is one of those stylistic fights that the UFC said, A, he's an exciting guy. B, Browne's got heavy hands, so we know Struve's not going to, get out of the way and he's going to get hit, but he's able to overcome that storm. And he has a superior well-roundedness to get by and end up winning this fight. So I think we're in for an interesting fight, but I give the thumbs up to Struve. Get the dog, bet the plus 120 or better. I think more wise guys are going to see it the way I do, and this line should come down. Let's go for Struve. That's 4 fights in all for Saturday night, so we are in action on the main card. We have 4 fights, fellas. Check them all out on YouTube. I'll be back for UFC 131 or some boxing, Strike Force, who knows what else beforehand. Thanks for checking in again. I'm Vegas Runner. We're out.